France did not directly participate in the Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848, as the conflict was primarily a territorial dispute between the United States and Mexico. However, as a prominent European power with interests in the Americas, France observed the war with strategic interest, particularly because of its historical and economic ties to Mexico and its broader ambitions in the region. 1. France's historical ties to Mexico. France had developed an interest in Mexico since the early 19th century, particularly after Mexico gained independence from Spain in 1821. French merchants and financiers were active in Mexican trade and industry, and France sought to expand its influence in Latin America as part of its global strategy. While France maintained diplomatic and economic relations with Mexico, its involvement in Mexican affairs at this time was limited compared to later interventions, such as the French invasion of Mexico in the 1860s. 2. Neutrality during the war. France adopted a neutral stance during the Mexican-American War. The conflict was seen as a regional dispute with little immediate impact on France's interests. However, French leaders were likely concerned about the United States' growing territorial expansion, as it demonstrated the rising power of a nation that could challenge European influence in the Americas. 3. European context and France's focus. In the 1840s, France was preoccupied with its own domestic and colonial concerns. Under King Louis Philippe's July monarchy, France was expanding its influence in North Africa and other parts of the world, leaving little room for direct involvement in North American conflicts. Furthermore, the European balance of power meant that France had to navigate its relationship with Britain, which also had vested interests in the Americas. 4. Implications of the war for France. Although France did not intervene, the war's outcome had implications for its future ambitions in Mexico. The United States' victory and subsequent territorial expansion solidified its dominance in North America, reducing the influence of European powers in the Western Hemisphere. This shifting dynamic set the stage for later tensions, including France's attempt to establish a monarchy in Mexico during the 1860s under Emperor Maximilian I. Conclusion: France played no direct role in the Mexican-American War, but watched its developments with interest as part of its broader strategy in the Americas. The war marked the growing influence of the United States, which would later impact European ambitions in the Western Hemisphere. France's more active involvement in Mexican affairs would come 2 decades later, during the French intervention in Mexico, highlighting its longer-term strategic goals in the region.